Hey there, my name is Dave Brough, and I am the owner of Anthony Realtors here in Fort Wayne, Indiana. We have a lot of folks that are asking us if our real estate market, if we're in a bubble, and I do not think that the data that we have access to doesn't support that. So I wanted to put this quick slide deck together for anybody who might be wondering the same things that people are asking us. So let's get started here. First of all, it's normal for you to be questioning this. I know in the news, this topic or this headline comes up a lot that we might be experiencing a bubble, or that the real estate market is sure to drop again, like we all experienced in 2007. And there was a recent Realtor.com poll which asked people, do you think we're in a bubble? And 77% of the consumers they asked said, yeah, we are. And 44% of real estate agents said, no, we're not. So let's look a little bit deeper at the actual numbers. First of all, it's not the same. What we're experiencing right now in a real estate market is not the same as what happened right before we had our crash before the recession in 2007. One of the major reasons why we had that crash was because there were so many bad loans out there that consumers were getting loans when they shouldn't have received the loan in the first place. So they had low credit scores. This was stated income, which means that the borrower just said, this is how much I make, and the lender didn't even go and verify that information. So we've learned from that. A lot of things have been corrected. So these subprime mortgages are, while we do have some out there in the market, not nearly like we had leading up to the last crash. So if you look at this slide right here, we are, in the third quarter of 2021, we had less than 100,000. We had less than $100,000 worth, $100 billion worth of loans out there that were subprime loans. Okay, and you look at the area in the orange. We had a lot of subprime loans. So even if something happens with our economy, these folks that own homes currently or that are getting loans in the last 10 years, these are people who were better qualified. I know forbearance is coming up a lot in the minds of people, and this happened during 2020 in the summertime with the pandemic. The federal government stepped in and they said, hey, the people are struggling. They can't go to work. They can't have an income. So they mandated to lenders that you have to allow these people to put a pause on their payments. So a lot of folks were concerned that once the forbearance was lifted and people had to start paying their loans again, that it was going to cause all kinds of issues. Well, as you see in this slide right here, the number of loans that are in forbearance are continuing to drop. Okay, so this is not what I would consider a major problem. So this is a healthy sign. And then foreclosures. Foreclosures are always on people's mind. Everybody remembers what happened from 2007 all the way to 2012, which was the bottom of our market here in Fort Wayne. It was all foreclosures, and foreclosures led to the falling of home prices. And in fact, we're not anywhere near that right now. So foreclosures are at an all-time low, actually. So to even get where we're trending upwards, it would take a lot. It would take a big event. So another thing that people talk about are interest rates. I know that a lot of people believe, or they're scared, that interest rates are going to start just climbing and climbing and climbing. And I don't think that's true. This slide right here is from Freddie Mac. Freddie Mac buys the majority of conventional loans that are written, and they buy them. Okay, so they believe that starting the third quarter of 2022, which would be like the end of summer, that our interest rates are going to slightly go up. And if you look at, the area in the blue in this graph, this was, the last 5 years. Well, interest rates went all the way up to like 5%. And we're not even going to be close to that. So I don't believe that interest rates are going to be any kind of play any kind of role in like a bubble bursting. Okay, it's not like interest rates are going to shoot up, and then people all of a sudden aren't going to be able to get loans, and then there's going to be all these houses on the market that's going to drive down prices. It's just simply not true. I just cannot find any evidence to actually support that. When I purchased my first home in 2005, I had a 6% interest rate, which I was told at that time was a very, very good interest rate. And we haven't seen a 6% interest rate, I believe, since then. And that was that was leading up to the last bubble. So we got a long ways to go there. People are afraid that that home prices are going to go down. And it's a legitimate concern if you didn't have any other information to go by. But the reality is that home prices are going to decelerate, which is not the same as depreciate. So we've had incredible price growth across our country and in Fort Wayne, where last year we had a growth in our home prices of about 12 to 14%, which is really high. I mean, it's too high. It's not sustainable. Nobody wants prices to continue with that kind of trajectory. I think most logical people believe that they should come down a little bit, and in fact, that's probably what's going to happen. So as home prices continue to trend up, I believe that should provide some security for people to know that their investment is going to be protected. So these are the institutions that we rely on to give us real estate data. So CoreLogic, Fannie Mae, the Mortgage Bankers Association, which is the equivalent of like the National Association of Realtors. These are all very reputable, respectable institutions, and on average, they're saying that we should have a growth in 2022 of about 6%, and that's a little bit higher than the historical growth that we've seen since it's been measured, which is about 4%, I believe, our home growth. So I don't know. I think that's kind of low for the Fort Wayne market. I think we'll actually see more than that, probably closer to like 9 or 10%. So where we go in the next 5 years, this is the Home Price Expectation Survey, which is, it takes, I believe, like over 100 different institutions and people, experts in the housing industry, and they poll these entities, and they ask them, some questions. And based upon the results of the last time that they polled this, they did this survey, is that over the next 4 or 5 years from now, that we're going to see some growth. So people who are optimistic about where our housing market is going say that we should have about a 62% growth in home prices. Even the pessimists, these are the people that have the lowest level of certainty about where our housing market is going. Even they are saying that we should have about a 24% growth over, until 2026. So nobody's actually saying that we're not going to have growth. They're just saying that the acceleration of our home prices are just going to slow. And across the board, the average of all these entities, they're saying about 43% growth. So there you have it. I mean, that is a very reputable source that I think that you rely on. So let's talk about inflation, because this is coming up more and more in the news. We are experiencing a ton of inflation. I think we're at like 7 or 8% of inflation right now. And, that's a high number, and nobody really knows where that's going to go. Hopefully we get the reins on that, and, it starts getting down to normal inflation levels. But let's talk about how inflation, kind of compares with home prices, and why home ownership is such a great hedge against inflation. So if you look at the home price appreciation across the country in 2021, we had about 18% appreciation rate. And then you compare that to the inflation rate, which was the cost of goods and services, those went up about 7%. So as the inflation keeps growing and things keep costing more, well, your home value is accelerating even quicker. So if there's a good investment or a good hedge to put your money in, it would be your home right now. And if you look at, I'm looking at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 decades, leading up to this, home ownership has always beat inflation. So if history is ever a good indicator of what's going to happen in the future, I believe that this graph right here would give most people some certainty that even if things get crazy, the home prices are still going to be higher. So I hope that information helps. We do our best here in Fort Wayne at Anthony Realtors to provide people with current information so that they can make intelligent decisions with their home purchasing and selling.